in frigid temperatures here in Iowa. They have been camping out since Saturday to get the best seats they can get for this big-time Big 12 matchup here at Hilton Coliseum in Ames, Iowa. The Cyclones have the highest ranking in program history. They are second in the nation. They have only lost one game this season, and tonight they welcome here to Hilton the 9th-ranked Kansas Jayhawks, who have won 5 straight games in top 10 matchups. You're watching the Big 12 on ESPN. This is a big game nationally. It's a big game within the conference, of course. Hey, how about Arizona? They got it going right now at 5-0. Iowa State and Houston 4-0. The Mountaineers and the Jayhawks are each 3-1. Hi, everybody, and welcome to a great scene here in Ames. Dan Schulman and Jay Billis, so glad to be here. Take us through each team and what their foundations are, what they need to win games.
Well, both are championship-level programs, but Kansas has not been shooting the ball well of late. But what they're doing is winning with defense. They're holding their opponents under 40% from the field overall. They've really done a great job in Big 12 play of guarding the three-point line, but the Jayhawks are not getting to the free throw line. They're last in the Big 12 at free throw attempts. And TJ Otzelberger has an elite basketball team at both ends of the floor. One of 2 teams in the country in the top 10 in both offensive and defensive efficiency. And their defense, Dan, they force turnovers. They've got almost a +6 turnover margin. So Kansas has to be strong with the ball, no live ball turnovers in Hilton.
But they are not their whole selves here tonight. Milan Momcilovic suffered a left hand injury in practice yesterday. He is out indefinitely. A guy we saw him in Maui. He can really shoot the ball, stretch the defense. He will not play. So Curtis Jones, who arguably, perhaps inarguably, has been the best 6th man in America, will make just his 2nd start of the season. He's the reigning Big 12 Player of the Week, and he can light you up for 25 on any given night. And how tough is it to win in here? Well, first you got to deal with the atmosphere, then you got to deal with the Cyclones, and Iowa State, Jay, has won 27 consecutive home games. Underway here in Ames, and the first possession goes to the Cyclones. Good ball pressure early by Kansas.
Kansas starting off in man-to-man. It's a team that likes to switch and can switch 1 through 3.
Jones slithers inside and gives Iowa State the early lead.
It is nice when you can bring off the bench into the starting lineup for an injured starter, the 2nd leading scorer in the Big 12.
The starting 5 for Kansas, and a change a couple of weeks ago. Shaquille Moore, wearing number 0, transfer from Mississippi State, has moved into the starting lineup, and he has really helped this team, Jay, get to another level defensively.
He is an excellent defender. He was on the Naismith Defensive Player of the Year watch list when he was at Mississippi State. He can switch, he's got long arms, and he is tough as nails on the defensive end.
And a look at the Iowa State starting 5 with Jones in the lineup. Is this trio right up there among the best perimeter groups in America?
I think you make a great argument that they're the best backcourt in the country, certainly the best starting backcourt. I would put the Florida Gators up there, especially when you factor in they bring Denzel Aberdeen off the bench to go with Walter Clayton Jr., Will Richard, and Elijah Martin.
TJ Otzelberger told us he gave Jones the choice. He goes, you want to come off the bench like you've been doing, or you want to start? But with Momcilovic out, Jones into the starting lineup. Taman Lipsey, a wide open 3, around and out, and the rebound down to KJ Adams.
It will be important for the Jayhawks in this game to take care of the ball. They cannot turn it over.
Boy, TJ Otzelberger cannot like that. If you're going to leave anybody of Kansas open in the corner, it can't be Zeke Mayo.
And that was in transition with KJ Adams grabbing the rebound and bringing it up, and that allows Zeke Mayo to just run the floor and get in the corner. You've got to have an awareness for where Mayo is all the time.
Another change in the starting lineup for the Cyclones, number 33 in white. Brandon Chatfield making his first start, the transfer from Seattle. And a nice find underneath, but Joshua Jefferson missed the reverse.
Jefferson should have just gone up. He probably would have been fouled from Hunter Dickinson coming from behind. After a great rebound by KJ Adams. This is just a rip and run. And it wasn't even a sprint down court by Zeke Mayo. Nobody picked him up. There was just not an awareness for where he is. That's the first thing you have to do, is find Zeke Mayo in transition.
And Iowa State under TJ Otzelberger has been a tremendous defensive program. Shovel pass, Gilbert to Lipsy for the lay-in. Taman Lipsy, of course, the native right here of Ames, Iowa, went to Ames High, won a state title, Mr. Basketball his senior year in high school, and a huge favorite of these Cyclone fans. And boy, they are as passionate and as noisy as any group in America.
But that's what Kansas has to avoid, is those live ball turnovers that Iowa State turns into an easy basket.
It was the first thing said at shoot around today, the last thing said, and it was said a bunch in the middle by Bill Self as well, as now Jefferson is called for a travel.
Anytime you show the basketball, and that's exactly what DeJuan Harris did, dribbling out in front of him, not able to protect it. Taman Lipsy's just going to take it away. He is one of the great steals defenders in college basketball, and he's going to be the all-time leading steals leader here at Iowa State. He averages close to 2.5 steals a game. That was his 206th of his career.
And Bill Self again at shoot around said it so many different ways. Don't play with the ball. Be strong with the ball. If you're going to turn it over, throw it out of bounds. Just make sure you don't give them easy ones at the other end.
And you cannot put the ball in front of you and try to cross over in front of these defenders. They will take it right out of your hands.
Dishon Jackson has checked in for Iowa State. Nate Heisey as well. And that's a Kansas turnover.
Smart defense by Iowa State. They're not worried about Shaquille Moore pulling up for a shot, so they just guarded him on the drive.
Again, Moore, an outstanding defender. KU has held their opponents under 50 points per game on average the last 3. They don't expect a lot out of him at the offensive end, although he has averaged better than 7 points per game in his 3 starts.
A little bit of a slow start for Joshua Jefferson of Iowa State, who transferred in from St. Mary's out in California, and he is a very skilled big guy that has had some really good games, especially of late. Last 2 games he's averaging 17 points a game, and he's a great passer. Just hasn't been as decisive as we've seen him the first few possessions of this game against Kansas.
He had the basket against Texas Tech down in Lubbock on Saturday that sent that game into overtime, and then some big free throws in overtime to help secure a 1-point win. That was a very intense high-level basketball game the Cyclones and the Red Raiders had over the weekend.
Yeah, Iowa State showed a tremendous amount of toughness to find a way to win that game. And this team really swarms to the ball. Their help side is excellent.
Feels like that might be the first touch for Hunter Dickinson. And we're almost 4 minutes in, and it's another Kansas turnover. Jackson to the glass and in.
Hunter Dickinson trying to take away the sideline and just opened up the middle on that little step-up screen. It's not great defense by Kansas.
Moore pulls up from 17 off the back of the iron, and a strong rebound for Jefferson. Jones, an outstanding offensive player, being guarded by DeJuan Harris Jr., an outstanding defensive player. And that pass just a little bit too close to Jackson. Didn't have time to really get his hands up and to make a play on it. Harris into the paint, off to Dickinson, who lays it in.
Well, that's the kind of drive that Kansas wants to the basket, to turn the corner and get downhill, draw help. And what a great play by Hunter Dickinson not to bring the ball down.
Kansas has dominated this rivalry over better than a century. 108 years they've been playing one another, but Iowa State has won the last 2 here in Ames. They will meet again in Lawrence early February. And a foul on the Cyclones. Well, as we mentioned, these 2 teams have been playing a long time, and we'll take a look back at what might be the biggest win in Cyclones history. 68 years yesterday, #1 Kansas came to Ames, led by Wilt Chamberlain, and they walked out of here with an L. The Cyclones beat them 39-37. The Rollin' Rocket, rolling about 12 miles northeast of here. Gary Thompson led the way in a 2-point win for the Cyclones, unquestionably one of the biggest wins in Iowa State basketball history. And Thompson's name up in the rafters here at Hilton Coliseum. How about this? Entering this season, how many weeks had they been in the AP Top 5? 10 all-time, 9 this season. What has TJ Otzelberger done so well to bring this program to these heights?
Well, he's established a culture of high standards. And everybody, I don't like the term buy-in because you can't buy this. It's not for sale. But all the players want to earn their way onto the floor. They're very supportive of one another, but they're outstanding defensively. This program was built on hard-nosed, tough defense. But their offense this year is the best it has been under TJ Otzelberger. They're one of the best offensive teams in the country.
Well, we showed you Gary Thompson from back in 1957. There is Gary Thompson tonight, 90 years young and still attending Cyclones games. The Rollin' Rocket. Cool nickname.
Really cool.
Yeah. Jackson guarded by Dickinson. Going to try to back him down. Here comes the double. Jefferson can't get a shot off over Adams. 5 to shoot. Jackson left hand, left it short, and it's Kansas ball.
Boy, good move to get to the basket. Just didn't quite complete it.
Same 5 on the floor for the Jayhawks out of the timeout.
Boy, what a job by Jefferson to take away that layup by Zeke Mayo on the back cut. That was beautifully done defensively. And
Jay, that is the 4th turnover already tonight committed by Kansas, and that's why Bill Self has that kind of a look on his face. They have won 3 in a row. They have had a good year. They're 12-3. Their only 3 losses were back-to-back at Creighton, at Missouri in early December, and then on New Year's Eve against West Virginia. The Mountaineers are having a very nice season, but it still feels a little bit, Jay, like it's been a bit of an up and down, searching for some things kind of season for the Jayhawks, but maybe that's just a factor of how high they set the bar.
Well, they've been inconsistent on the offensive end. It's been difficult to find players that can consistently make shots. Zeke Mayo is really the only one that is consistently making perimeter shots. That's made them a little bit easier to guard, but the Jayhawks have picked up their defense as a result.
As you say, they don't shoot the 3 very well. You mentioned it earlier, they rarely get to the line. So by today's standards, they score a very high percentage of their points on 2-pointers. And of course, analytically, what teams are trying to do is 3s and layups and free throws. But Kansas is getting it done with mid-range shots and long 2s and a lot of Dickinson in the paint.
Well, their point distribution is interesting. 61% of Kansas's points come off 2-point field goals. Only 12% of their points come off made free throws. And they've shot, coming into this game, 190 free throws. And Iowa State shot over 300, same amount of games.
Jefferson couldn't finish it, but he is fouled and will head to the line.
Joshua Jefferson is a difference maker for this Iowa State team. He can post, he can face up, a very gifted passer, and really a playmaker at 6'9". But his last 2 games, 55% from the field, 17 points a game, just under 8 rebounds per game.
4-time Big 12 newcomer of the week, as he misses the first. It's a great atmosphere here, as it always is. It's been a few years since you've been here. It's been more than a few years since I've been here. Not all the students are back. Class is not back in session until Tuesday of next week, but you wouldn't know it by the noise. And it's an early start here, right? 6 o'clock local time is when this game began. But I mean, everybody was in their seat before the anthem was played. And a timeout is called by Mayo as he got trapped. And Bill Self displeased again. Tied at 7. We're back at 30. Kansas forced to burn a timeout to retain possession. There's TJ Otzelberger, who had 2 different stints as an assistant coach here at Iowa State before he became the head coach. He also was at UNLV as a head coach. That's where he was right before here, and he has done a remarkable job. A Wisconsin guy who's from Milwaukee, played D3. And you talked about the culture that this is not a team. This is a program. The culture that he has developed, it's evident when you talk to him. It's evident when you watch them practice that he's got a really good thing going here.
He is a leader. Yeah. And what a tremendous demeanor he has. Rarely says a word to an official because he doesn't want his team to be thinking about anything other than playing. And if he's taking his focus off his team, what message is he sending? It's really a great message, I think, for all coaches.
Well, temperatures were in the teens today, and as Jay and I came in all bundled up for shoot-around this morning, we bumped into TJ on the way down the ramp into the loading dock here at Hilton Coliseum, and he's in shorts.
Yeah, we immediately said, all right, you win. Yeah. You're tougher than us.
Which was not in doubt before we saw him today.
Well, man, speak for yourself.
Backdoor cut, Mayo, and that's something Kansas thinks they can get because Iowa State is so aggressive in the passing lanes, they think some backdoor cuts are there for the taking.
And that's where you have to talk and let everybody know there's no help there. When you're on the wing, you have to be aware of that because Kansas wants to use Iowa State's pressure against them.
Lori Badunga with a block, but then a travel at the other end. The backdoor cut giving Zeke Mayo 7 points, Jay, already in this game.
The ball basically in the middle of the floor in the slot. And a terrific step and go back cut by Zeke Mayo for the easy bucket.
Some of the headlines of the Big 12 Conference right now. As we told you, the highest ranking in Iowa State program history. They are number 2 in the nation right now. They've only lost 1 game this year. Looks like Arizona has figured it out. They are off to a 5-0 start in league play. Beat Baylor last night. Don't sleep on the Cougars. They have won 8 in a row. Haven't lost since late November. And a surprise at the other end for Cincinnati. They were held to 40 points by Kansas on the weekend. The Bearcats are 0-4. Jones with a corner 3.
Iowa State executing after the timeout with the out of bounds underneath.
And the Cyclones back on top by a point. We've got a foul against Iowa State. I believe it's Demarion Watson.
Curtis Jones just sees the way he's being guarded out of bounds, just runs right behind Branton Chatfield, who set a terrific screen for him, and he got an easy look from 3. Really good execution on out of bounds underneath by Iowa State.
Chatfield playing very well again, the transfer from Seattle, starting his first game tonight, getting over 20 minutes per game each of the last 2. Jones rises up again and hits a deep one.
Kansas did not want to let Curtis Jones get started.
Mayo tries to quiet him down with a 2 at the other end.
Curtis Jones normally comes off the bench, as you mentioned, as a 6th man, but he's leading this team in scoring, 2nd in the Big 12 at 17 a game. And he could put up points in a hurry.
He is explosive, and whether he comes off the bench or starts the rest of the season, as Chatfield has it blocked from behind. And we asked TJ Otzelberger this at shoot-around today. If Curtis Jones keeps playing the way he's playing, is he deserving of first-team all-conference consideration? And Otzelberger is his coach, so obviously he likes the young man. But he's playing about as well as anybody in the Big 12 right now.
I mean, if it ended today, Curtis Jones is first-team all-Big 12 without question.
Into Dishon Jackson. And fouled by Hunter Dickinson.
Dickinson just tried to reach for the ball instead of just being big. You already let it in. Just make him score over the top of you. Just wall up and make him shoot over.
So Jackson at the line, spent last year with Charlotte, 3 years with Washington State before that. He is a 5th-year senior, but he has another year, the COVID year and a medical redshirt season. So he can come back one more season for the Cyclones. And when he is on, he can be a big physical force. The combination of Jackson and Chatfield gives them two very physical guys up front.
Yeah, it's a great combo. Not only the physicality, but he's really good in vertical contests at the basket. Good rim protector and shot blocker. And he's got good hands.
Dickinson will try a three. Not shooting the three ball as well as he did last year, or even better 2 years ago. Look at the move by Gilbert, but has it blocked by Adams.
Boy, challenging one of the great athletes in college basketball, in K.J. Adams.
At the other end, Adams can't finish it, gets it back, puts it up again, has it blocked, puts it up again, and draws the foul. And hit the deck hard.
A great second and third effort by K.J. Adams. Not only blocks the shot at the defensive end, the physicality of the game.
And at times it's been a bit of an up and down year for Adams. He went through a rough patch a few weeks ago, but Bill Self very happy with what he's getting from Adams more recently, especially in the rebounding department. And in his last 3 games, averaging almost 8 rebounds per game. And Jay, more than half of his rebounds in those 3 games have been at the offensive end.
Yeah, with his athleticism, you always felt like he should be a more productive rebounder. And over the last 3, he has really lived up to exactly what you think he should be.
Free throws bring KU back within a point, but not for long. Jefferson with a beautiful find to Jackson.
That's the playmaking ability of Joshua Jefferson that you expect to see, and much more decisive than we saw from him in the first 5 minutes of the game.
Averages almost 3 assists per game. A nice drive and a finish at the other end by Rylan Griffin, the 6'6" junior who transferred in from Alabama.
Boy, the ball is moving for Kansas. This is a tough team to make passes against. Great pass.
Again, it's Jefferson to Jackson. And out of bounds, it'll be Iowa State basketball.
Taman Lipsey is like a great cover corner. As soon as that ball went through the net, he was defending, and Jefferson catching the ball. That makes him a playmaker. K.J. Adams has to play 2. There was no rotation at all, and Jefferson took advantage of it. And then the beautiful wraparound pass for 2 assists in a row to Dishon Jackson.
Again, Jackson transferring in from Charlotte, Jefferson from St. Mary's. Jackson again, and a foul called on Dickinson, number 2 on him.
Boy, unless he reached, I didn't see that one. It looked like Jackson was about to walk with the ball. I thought they were calling a walk more so than a foul.
And that is going to send him to the bench. Let's get another look.
Maybe they called just that arm bar there.
Yeah, Kip Kissinger, who's in the corner, made the call, made a motion with his arms that Dickinson kind of did get an arm bar on him. Jones knocks down another. He is into double figures.
He has such a quick release, and he is fearless as an offensive player.
And actually, I'm 2 behind on him. He's got 12 already. And the move tonight, Jay, from coming in off the bench to starting doesn't appear to have slowed down Curtis Jones at all.
You know, Dan, when you watch Iowa State play defense, it's not like they're perfect with their positioning all the time. How could you be? But they play so hard. When they do make any sort of mistake, they fix it. And this is a really difficult team to score upon. They can really speed you up.
TJ Otzelberger talks about what he's looking for in players, whether he's recruiting them or going into the transfer portal. As Harris is fouled, he's looking for, players who are willing to do the same thing every day. Lock in on the details. Ignore the distractions. You practice, you watch film, you play the game, wash, rinse, repeat. Do the same game, the same thing over and over and over again. He wants guys who are willing to work, quite frankly, who are willing to be coached hard and work hard to get the best out of themselves.
And clearly the Cyclones do that, but they also have recruited some very good talent. And this guard trio is just spectacular on both ends of the floor.
Tonight so far it's been Jones with 12. Keyshawn Gilbert hasn't scored yet. He averages 16 a game. This is him with the ball right now. He's liable to get going at any moment.
Yeah, he will not be scoreless for very long.
Jones drawing a lot of attention, and justifiably so. He can make every kind of shot you can think of.
Well, they put 2 on the ball on him, and still he finds a way to snake through and score.
6 for 6, 14 points. A.J. Storr into the game for Kansas, and it rolls off the rim and down to Heisey. Stolen away by Harris. Tapped to Jefferson, and then Badunga steals it.
Well, there was no way for that pass to fit through. Just a little bit too ambitious for Joshua Jefferson.
Adams spins to the baseline, lofts a pass to the far corner. And the step-in jumper will go for Storr, the transfer from Wisconsin. Second team All-Big Ten a year ago. It just hasn't really clicked yet for him, Jay, with the Jayhawks.
Well, he is still adjusting to having to catch and make a quick decision, but I think he will adjust before the season's over.
Curtis Jones has been absolutely outstanding at quick decisions here tonight. He has dominated the game of the offensive end. He's got 14 of Iowa State's 24.
Curtis Jones, the 6'4" senior who transferred to Iowa State from Buffalo, is a walking bucket. He's averaging 17 points a game. He's a dynamic catch-and-shoot scorer, an improved driver who's got a terrific middle game, and he is off to a great start in this one in just his second start of the season. 6 of 6 from the floor, including 2 of 2 from three-point range. 14 points for Jones, and it doesn't matter whether you got one guy on him or 2. He is knocking shots down from everywhere.
And again, starting because of the injury to Milan Momcilovic, who suffered a left-hand injury at practice yesterday, is out indefinitely. Dishon Jackson has been outstanding tonight as well, and he is coming off the bench tonight. Grant Chatfield got the start, but Jackson giving the Cyclones some great minutes as well. Harris, Adams, and Heisey comes away with it. Turnover number 7 committed by Kansas.
This Iowa State team does such a great job of keeping you to one side. Excellent help. And then, Dan, they help the helper. It's not just help. It's that rotation to help the helper that makes them so difficult to score upon. And not only that, they take it away from you.
Heisey gave it back, though he was standing out of bounds when he caught the pass in the corner. So back come the Jayhawks. With Moore at the point, Harris playing off the ball at the moment. Storr to Adams, still lots of time. Adams from the elbow with the jumper that goes.
Joshua Jefferson not quite daring him to take that shot. But what they don't want to do is give KJ Adams an angle to get to the rim. That's where he's ultra dangerous. A little double drag up top. Great pass.
Jackson over Badunga, draws the foul.
Lucky got away with a little bit of a shuffle, but was still able to keep possession of the ball.
Number 2 on Badunga. So Dickinson on the bench with 2. Badunga in the game with 2. And is Bill Self going to downsize right here? Saturday at noon Eastern on ESPN. Mark Sears and number 4 Alabama. They are headed to Rupp to take on Jackson Robinson at number 8 Kentucky. It's also available on the ESPN app. What do you say we go and do that game?
I'm excited about that one. Not just for Rupp Arena ice cream, but Alabama coming in off a loss to Ole Miss. Not shocking that any SEC team loses a conference game. It's just that Ole Miss held them to under 70. A team averaging over 90 held it home to under 70.
And Jay, Bill Self has indeed downsized here. KJ Adams is the de facto 5. Badunga and Dickinson each on the bench with a couple of fouls.
Great job by Nate Heisey to come over from the weak side and disrupt that. Just reading the ball and moving as the ball moves.
Adams knocks it away. The race is on. Adams will win it. Take a bump. And Heisey down with a rebound, but knocked away. Adams soaring into the bucket. Boy, I mean, Adams has been all over the place, just not able to finish as consistently as he would like.
And two great vertical contests from Jackson, just big body and going straight up.
And now we've got a shot clock issue, I believe.
Just had a reset without it hitting the rim.
Yeah. And that's why Randy McCall, one of the officials, blew the whistle. As you say, the ball did not hit the rim on the shot by Johnson. Or by Jones, rather. Gilbert in, Jefferson in, and they put the shot clock at 19.
Watch Nate Heisey here, number 0 on the back cut. As soon as the cutter leaves, he still keeps his eyes on the ball and then disrupts that back cut. What could have been an easy basket for Kansas on the back cut. Heisey turned it into a steal in an Iowa State possession. That's just excellent defense.
An air ball from the corner. Put up by Jones, who started 6 for 6. Now he's missed his last 2. Zeke Mayo, probably the best shooter on the Kansas roster, misses a 3.
I don't think there's a probably about that. He's the best shooter.
Transferred in from South Dakota State. Dishon Gilbert is on the board. And another timeout taken by Kansas as Iowa State Jay is now up by 8.
Dishon Gilbert, the Big 12 tournament MVP last year, and he can drill it.
At 2 Eastern. Boy, they love their basketball here in Ames.
Well, they have a lot to cheer for. This is an excellent basketball team. And it's a team that really seems to get along with one another, and they don't really seem to care who gets the credit.
Last year won the Big 12 tournament title, got to the Sweet 16, but I think undeniably on a national stage, Jay, they have hopes as high as anybody in the country. They can get to a Final Four. They can win a national championship. This team is that good.
There's nobody that this team cannot beat. Now, there are a number of teams out there that can beat Iowa State, but this team can beat absolutely anybody.
14-1 on the season. Gilbert to the rim. Watson with a follow, but it won't go. Iowa State's only loss came in Maui in November to Auburn in a game that the Cyclones led by 18, and the Tigers came back to win it.
That was a late game tip-in that beat them. I mean, that's a one-possession game. Otherwise, we'd be looking at the undefeated Iowa State Cyclones.
Mayo, the kick. Harris. Mayo in the corner, misses the 3, tipped out by Adams. And Harris knocks down a 3.
Iowa State did everything on that possession but grabbed the long rebound. And Demarion Watson, what a terrific challenge of that shot from the corner by Mayo. Did not give up on the play.
Watson, a guy who, because of the Momcilovic injury, has kind of moved into the rotation. They need some minutes out of him. A steal by Harris. And blocked by Watson. What a play. A travel is called. Watson, a guy who has not played very much, but making his presence felt, especially, Jay, at the defensive end of the floor.
Well, he's got length and athleticism, which he just showed. He might have been the 8th man last year for this Iowa State team, but an excellent defender and a good job by Dishon Gilbert to change the direction and slow down DeJuan Harris just a bit so that Watson could get this big-time chase down block.
Curtis Jones, the big story, especially early, 14 points in this game. Hunter Dickinson has played sparingly because of foul trouble and, yes, fast break points. A lot of those off steals. One of the big reasons why the Cyclones have a 5-point lead. It's loose again, and it will belong to the Cyclones.
Boy, great trap. Anytime you have the ball that close to the sideline, you're inviting a trap. But Watson did a great job of supporting the trap once DeJuan Harris got out of it. I'll tell you what, Dan, Iowa State, as good as their defense is, they've got to be better with the ball. I mean, they've turned it over 9 times and made some questionable passes. You know, Joshua Jefferson trying to thread some needles. Dishon Gilbert, same thing. is a team that turns it over just under 10 times a game. They got 9 in the first half.
Jackson back to Jones. Lofts it up. Jackson goes and gets it and lays it in. And with no Dickinson and no Badunga, Dishon Jackson is by far the biggest guy on the court.
He just discarded, I think it was Raquise Passmore, and just got right to the rim. Just a great job by Dishon Jackson, who is an excellent offensive rebounder because he goes to the glass so much.
Has really given them a spark. That's the second on KJ Adams. He's gone to the bench, but it's Dickinson with 2 who has come back in.
And really, Iowa State, they need to go right at Dickinson when they get the ball back.
Marquise Passmore, the crossover, kicked back out. Mayo can't get the shot off.
Boy, what a job by Jefferson to run him off the line.
Chasing him again. Extra pass finds Harris. He can't get a shot off. Mayo will and hits it.
Boy, that's big time by Zeke Mayo, and a great job to show poise by Kansas.
Lipsy trying to go the distance, lost the ball. And it belongs to Kansas.
Another turnover by Iowa State. The only positive, it wasn't a live ball turnover that Kansas could take the other way. But what a great shot fake and sidestep by Zeke Mayo, transferred in from South Dakota State. Just at the end, essentially at the end of the clock, when it seemed like Iowa State had taken the life out of the Kansas possession.
And Mayo last year with South Dakota State played in the NCAA tournament against Iowa State in the first round. They lost the game, the Jackrabbits did, but he scored 19 points in that game. Rylan Griffin with a 3, and Mayo and Griffin have brought the Jayhawks back within 2.
Curtis Jones got picked off by a screen, and that left plenty of room for Rylan Griffin.
Floater by Gilbert. It will go. Gilbert now with 5.
An excellent job by Curtis Jones to top block Rylan Griffin, not let him get to the ball.
Mayo sizing up Jefferson, driving on him. Almost stolen, but Gilbert was out of bounds.
Kansas has done a great job to just hang in there in this game, and their defense has been excellent on their side, but they just don't give you any room to breathe. Everything is contested. And I think really the key for Iowa State against Kansas is going to be ball pressure. Because the Jayhawks are going to get open from time to time, but if you can't see them open, then you can't deliver the pass. Ball pressure is the key.
Lipsy back in, Heisey out. The brief delay, the shot clock had been reset, and now the ruling has been made. There should not have been a change of possession, so instead of being at 29, it's at 12. And they turn it over again. Each team has now turned it over 10 times.
It's a great job by Jones to blow up that little handoff and the opportunity for DeJuan Harris to maybe shoot behind.
Gilbert splits a pair, shovel pass to Jefferson, who had it blocked. Cyclones still have it. Jones again. 17 on the night for Curtis Jones.
It's a spectacular job by Jones.
And it's as noisy right now as it's been all night, and that's saying something. Mayo got a clean look, couldn't hit it. And it eventually belongs to Iowa State as we are in the final minute now of the first half.
Little horns look. This is what he's good at, back downs.
Drop.
Ooh, what a steal.
Harris came in there and got it. Ball still loose. Jefferson got it back. Jones again. 20 in the first half for Curtis Jones. Dickinson left it short, got it back. And the first half comes to a close with Curtis Jones making just his second start of the season, dominating this game early in the half and again right at the end of the half. Jay, he's got 20 of their 40.
I think he's looking pretty good for that first team All Big 12 prediction you made, but Curtis Jones has been spectacular, and he's shown great poise. A defender running at him, just gives a tiny little shot fake and steps into the three and knocks it down. What a great run. You steal the ball from Iowa State, they just steal it back from you. And Jones, there is not a shot deep enough for him to turn down.
Halftime, back to the studio. Here's Zubin.
The bench, he's got 20.
That guy Jones,
starting
he is great.
He is something else. Welcome inside the Halftime Report. Seth Greenberg, Sean Farnham, Zubin Mehenti. You know, Iowa State has always been known as a defensive-oriented team under TJ Otzelberger, but we're going to spotlight some sublime passing while also keeping an eye on the All-American for Kansas.
Well, I think, look, Joshua Jefferson is a difference maker. I covered him with Bunch when he was at St. Mary's a year ago. Had he not been injured, I think St. Mary's was a Sweet 16 team a year ago. But his versatility, Coach, makes them a little bit different at the offensive end.
He's a terrific passer, but look, Hunter Dickinson right there. He gets stretched out. You draw two on the ball screen. They never recover. Coit misses a bump. And then his next play, he just takes a bad angle on the block right there, Sean.
Watch, on the drive, go get your guy. No? Oh, I'm going to leave him. Why are you leaving? KJ Adams is in good position on the defensive end of the floor.
You know, we talk about being connected, right? The defense right now of Kansas isn't connected. The bigs aren't connected. The perimeter people aren't picking up the ball high enough, stopping the basketball, contesting shots. This has been an absolute clinic by Iowa State on both ends.
Yeah, but when Jones is going like he's doing it, and Coach, we were talking about it, good call by starting him.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
But, I mean, this collection of guards that they have, and they were talking about during the game, is this the best guard group in the country? I think Florida's obviously in there, but complete on both ends of the floor.
They're the best two-way guards in the country.
I would give it to Iowa State.
Best two-way guards in the country.
You talked about connecting. These two teams are going to connect again February 3rd on Big Monday. And if the first half tonight's any indication, buckle up for the second half.
Curtis Jones of the Iowa State Cyclones making just his second start of the season due to an injury to Milan Momcilovic, and Curtis Jones lit this building up in the first half. Made 4 threes and 5 tries and scored 20 points. Iowa State by 10. Iowa State, it happened. And Iowa State knocked down the threes as well. They're up 10 at the half.
Iowa State's defense was excellent. We talked about their help side, the fact they helped the helper. They were everywhere. One thing for Iowa State, they were loose with the ball in that first half. They had 10 turnovers, the Cyclones did, as well as Kansas, but I felt like some of Iowa State's turnovers were unforced. They were trying to fit the ball into tight spaces instead of making the right pass. But I think Iowa State has to do a better job of finding Zeke Mayo. He had 12 points in that first half. And then on the Kansas side, Kansas has to get Hunter Dickinson more involved. Yeah. He only had 2 points in that first half. I know he had foul trouble, but he's got to touch the ball more.
Kansas got back within 2 late in the half, but then Iowa State took over at the end with a couple of threes and another basket. They have a 10-point lead, and right out of the chute in the second half, a turnover, and we have seen a lot of frustration on the face of Bill Self in this game tonight. He knows how tough it is to win here against this team when you're playing well. You turn it over too many times, it's almost impossible.
Yeah, you turn it over. You don't want to get too simplistic, but you turn it over, you don't get a shot, you don't get a chance at an offensive rebound, and you don't get a chance to get fouled. 3 really good things for your offense.
Joshua Jefferson lays it up and in. Nice job by Chatfield to screen off a couple of Jayhawks.
Yeah, Chatfield used that big body and just opened up a lane for that drive by Jefferson. He was like an offensive lineman.
Well, Chatfield playing better and better, getting more and more minutes. Another turnover. Jones. And it blocked by Dickinson, but Lipsy comes up with it.
He is always around the ball.
Gilbert wouldn't stay down, and it belongs to the Jayhawks.
Hunter Dickinson's touched the ball twice in the second half. He's turned it over twice. Maybe they don't need to give it to him more.
Bill Self now up off the bench, yelling out instructions at the offensive end. Mayo a miss, and nobody near the glass for Kansas.
Well, that was just not a good shot. It was a long 2 that was hotly contested.
Gilbert defended by Moore. Here's the big screen from Chatfield, a willing and able screener. Now he gets a touch. Off to Jefferson. Just a little bit strong on the 10-footer.
Bodies are flying in this game.
Adams got knocked down. He's back into the play now with the offensive end. And out to Harris.
Drop coverage because they're not worried about DeJuan Harris shooting the ball from the perimeter.
Shot clock running down. Dickinson puts it up and hits.
Well, he's got a beautiful touch with that left hand and a terrific pass from DeJuan Harris down the lane line.
A couple of very, very experienced players. DeJuan Harris Jr. is playing in his 156th game. Granted the extra year because of COVID, but that is a ton of experience at the point for Bill Self. And Harris comes up with a loose ball. Backdoor Mayo. Good help though by Jefferson.
Boy, Jefferson was right there. He read that perfectly on that back cut.
Nice pass inside. Dickinson to Adams, and he's fouled.
Now take a look here, Dan, at Brandon Chatfield on the offensive end. Chatfield's right here. And as Jefferson goes up and sets this little screen, catches it in a short roll, he's just going to go in and duck in right into Hunter Dickinson so Dickinson cannot protect the rim. I mean, that made the play on that drive, just opened up the lane for Jefferson for that easy layup.
Here's a line that T.J. Otzelberger said about Chatfield in his time with the media yesterday. Quote, he does so much to help other guys be the best version of themselves, and that is truly the case. They don't really run plays for him, but with the physicality, the rebounding, the screening, he makes everybody else's job a lot easier.
Yeah, per minute, one of the best offensive rebounders in the Big 12.
Jefferson one-on-one with Dickinson. Big spinner of it, give it back to Jones. 3 on the shot clock, they turn it over. Mayo ahead to Harris. Adams runs it down. Everybody having trouble hanging on to the basketball tonight. Zeke Mayo with a long 3, a big bucket for the Jayhawks.
If Iowa State stops turning the ball over, when Kansas has to go against their half-court defense, it's been extraordinarily difficult. You turn it over, you can't get set, and Zeke Mayo gets an open 3.
Iowa State has scored just 2 points here in the second half. And Jefferson missed a jam. And now Harris is fouled. A missed opportunity at the offensive end for the Cyclones. As Joshua Jefferson, who has been really good this year and great recently for Iowa State, just couldn't hammer it home.
Just a fabulous pass. And look, anytime this happens, people are going to say, just lay it in. And then if he lays it in and it gets blocked, they're going to go, just dunk it. Anything you do, just make it when you're that close to the basket.
Jefferson sits, and Demarion Watson, a 6'7" junior from Maple Grove, Minnesota, back into the game. Some good minutes in the first half for a guy getting into the rotation because of the injury to Momcilovic, as Bedunga lays it into the other end for Kansas, and they've cut a 10-point halftime deficit down to 5.
Anything Kansas runs out of the middle of the floor, that middle third.
KJ Adams is hurt. KJ Adams is down. There was a big collision as he and an Iowa State player went for the ball, and Adams got the worst of it. What certainly appeared to be a right shoulder injury after a collision where he and Demarion Watson were going for the basketball, and Adams got the worst of it, and it was an obvious significant pain right away, and hopefully this is not something too serious.
So off the floor now for Kansas, KJ Adams. I think Kansas's best overall defender. You know, and in this game, he's got 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and a block that just went to the locker room.
So Flory Bedunga and Hunter Dickinson in the game together. The backcourt, as Iowa State turns it over again, the backcourt is Zeke Mayo, Shaquille Moore, and David Diggy Coit. This is a bit of an unusual group here that Bill Self has in this game right now. But again, even though it feels like Iowa State is kind of comfortable, it's only a 5-point game.
And you give Kansas credit for its defense, but some of Iowa State's turnovers don't feel like they've been really forced.
Lipsy, Jackson, bothered at the rim by Badunga. It'll be a held ball. And the possession arrow will keep it to this end of the floor.
Boy, bothered. It was terrorized.
Yeah.
What a great block by Flory Badunga.
He can do things that not a lot of guys can do with the leaping ability.
Another great play by Nate Heisey as a help defender. Just read that play very effectively to get the steal.
Jackson going at Dickinson. And Dickinson wins the battle. Mayo has the ball, and here comes Kansas again. Crossover by Moore, floats it up and in, and it's a 3-point game.
Boy, Kansas has really hung in there, and they've really done it defensively.
It is a 9-0 run over the last 3 minutes for the Jayhawks here in Ames. Lipsy into the paint, too strong, and it's out of bounds to Kansas.
Lipsy has been pretty quiet offensively. Just 2 points in this game, a couple of assists, but he has had 3 steals. He makes his impact felt on the defensive end every game.
And now TJ Otzelberger is going to try a new combination. He makes 3 changes. The Cyclones have scored only 2 points here in the second half.
Well, this is their starting lineup in today's game.
Chatfield back in, Gilbert back in. And Jones comes up with it as Coit lost the handle.
The pressure of Iowa State really forced Kansas out. They couldn't run anything.
Jefferson right into the chest of Badunga to finish.
And that's the way you take away a shot blocker. Go right into his chest, knock him back.
Back to 5. Dickinson, great pass. Badunga very fortunate to get that basket. Again, it's a 3-point game.
And Hunter Dickinson is a very good passer. Great in and out dribble.
Gilbert finds Chatfield, blocked by Badunga, making his presence felt at both ends. Coit. Badunga had it, but surrounded by Cyclones, and Chatfield took it away.
Well, you make Badunga dribble it. Iowa State's just going to take it right away from him.
Gilbert finds Lipsy, who lays it in.
Now, these Iowa State guards are so connected with one another.
Badunga almost lost it again. Gilbert came in looking for a steal. Badunga gets it back and kicks it out. Coit with a floater, short. And Badunga has it, got tied up. It will stay with Kansas. You got to admire the effort that Badunga's given on both ends of the floor.
He's played really hard, and with his length and athleticism, he can really affect things. But a great job by Jefferson to go right into the chest of Badunga, knock him back, and he wasn't able to get up and block that shot. A terrific cut by Taman Lipsy from the weak side, taking it to the other side of the bucket so it wouldn't get blocked.
Kansas ball down by 5.
A flex action.
Mayo. Dickinson. Bang in with Chatfield, and the foul before the shot on Chatfield.
Those are 2 big bodies going right at one another. And Bill Self wanted the officials, hey, let that play go a little bit further.
KJ Adams, Jay, is back. A very good sign for the Jayhawks. Jackson in. Chatfield has gone to the bench with his 3rd foul. Tipped away by Jefferson, recovered by Badunga.
Boy, what a play by Lipsy, not letting DeJuan Harris get that ball on the handoff. Just blew it up.
Mayo, baseline runner, no. Tip, no. Cyclones on the move. Gilbert keeps the dribble alive and draws a foul.
He just took on Hunter Dickinson coming off that little screen action, going from the right side to the left.
And how about this, Jay? KJ Adams coming back into the game.
Yeah, he's just too valuable for Kansas to keep on the bench, and if he can go, he's a tough kid. If he can go, he's going to go.
And you could just see he was describing to Bill Self right there what exactly happened or what he felt in that shoulder area. But here it comes. They're doing good to the bench. Gilbert extends the lead for Iowa State. And they're on their feet again here at Hilton Coliseum.
Lipsy guarding Mayo. He's got to stay with him. Can't let him breathe.
Harris driving on Gilbert. Off the glass, no good. Jefferson down with a rebound.
When DeJuan Harris drives it to the rim, that's an opportunity to get transition if you're alert. Take it the other way.
Lipsy to drive. Tough pass. And an ill-advised pass. It is turned over back to Kansas. Iowa State leading this one by 7. That's pretty good stuff.
It is really good.
That's pretty good stuff.
Rupp Arena has some competition.
Yes. It's the Clone Cone here in Cyclone country. And it's very, very popular. We're not the only ones enjoying it here.
And you know it's good if you're eating ice cream and outside it's 0.
Yes. A good time being had by all here tonight at Hilton Coliseum. Dan Schulman, Jay Billis. I'm even bopping a little. I don't bop very often. Jay's enjoying it.
I'm loving it.
Yeah. And a pretty good basketball game as well, although both teams are cold right now. Iowa State with a 7-point lead over Kansas. It was 10 at the half. Kansas got it down to 3 here early in the second half. Turnovers continue to plague both teams. Kansas 16, Iowa State 13.
The turnovers have been different, though, in my view. I think Iowa State's turnovers, they've been trying to do a little bit too much and throwing the ball away at different times. And they've forced Kansas into quite a few turnovers. I'm sure Bill Self would say, hey, if we're strong over the ball, they couldn't force us to do that.
Shaquille Moore with a bucket, the assist to KJ Adams, who, by the way, has 4 assists in the game now, and it's back to 5. Jefferson. Dickinson got a piece of it. It still belongs to the Cyclones.
A terrific block from behind by Hunter Dickinson. Just more of a timing block than an athleticism block.
10 on the shot clock, and Keyshawn Gilbert to inbound for the Cyclones. Got to get it in, and he does to Jefferson. Lipsy hits it.
He makes timely plays and timely buckets. He's like the Chris Paul of Iowa State. Grew up in this area.
Ooh, Gilbert just got wiped out on a screen by Dickinson. Dickinson with a bucket as well. Gilbert's okay, and it's a 6-point game.
It's like running into a grain silo.
Gilbert guarded by Harris. Lipsy, not this time. Curtis Jones, by the way, who lit this building up with 20 in the first half, has yet to score here in the second.
They had DeJuan Harris on him for a number of possessions, not that one.
Harris finds Moore in the corner. And Dickinson being held. If it's Jackson, it'll be his second. It looks like Dickinson is arguing for a hook and hold and asking the officials to look at it, but there's no sign of that happening. It'll be a common foul on Dishon Jackson.
That was probably just a hold and not the hook and hold.
Harris. Mayo can't get where he wants to go. Adams open. Dickinson with a mid-range jumper won't go.
Really good job by Iowa State to go over the top of that fade screen with Zeke Mayo.
Lipsy bumped by Adams, who will pick up foul number 3.
Well, this has been a rough second half for Iowa State offensively. Give Kansas's defense, which is very good. I mean, Kansas really turned up their defense. What would you say, the last six games or so?
Yeah, especially the last 3 when Moore went into the starting lineup. Boy, so Jackson at 6'11", 274 goes out, and Chatfield at 6'10", 260 comes in for the Cyclones. Jones from the baseline, tough shot, and Moore's got it for Kansas, and they got numbers. Harris is fouled by Lipsy.
Well, it was a great early challenge by Tamin Lipsy, but just reached out with that right hand.
Not a popular call here in Ames. Let's get another look.
Yeah, he got
him on the arm. Yeah.
Of course he did. A rare trip to the free throw line for Kansas. And Kansas loves to get downhill. They love to get into the lane, draw help. But because they've had a hard time shooting it and knocking shots down, defenses are packed in on them.
Iowa State has not trailed in the second half at home at all this season. They are leading now, but Kansas has made a game of it. Harris missed both, one before the timeout, one after, so it's still a 6-point game.
And let's see after that timeout if TJ Otzelberger runs something to get Curtis Jones a shot. Get him started.
Moore knocked it away. Chatfield got it back. Got an elbow up in the jaw of Moore. Jefferson lays it in.
Scoring around the basket for Iowa State in this second half has been difficult. They're now 5 of 17 in the second half.
Off Lipsy, still Kansas ball.
Boy, Lipsy has tremendous anticipation. It's kind of like Gretzky said, he's not worried about where the ball is. He's worried about where it's going to be. He anticipates where it's going to be. He's taking on the Zeke Mayo assignment.
Harris, tough catch by Moore. Shot clock at 7. Adams, Dickinson knocked away by Jones.
Helping the helper yet again.
Gilbert finds Jefferson in the paint, and he'll kick it back out to Jones. Lots of time on the shot clock. Lipsy misses the 3, and it's down to Moore. He'll think better of it and back it back out. Mayo.
He doesn't miss many of those. Came right off that fade screen and was wide open on the catch.
Jay Mayo's got 15 for the Jayhawks. Nobody else for Kansas has more than 6 points in this game.
Yeah, with the turnovers, it's not enough, and not getting to the free throw line.
Lipsy the kick. And a foul as Chatfield went to the rim to take us to the under 8 timeout. Iowa State up by 8 on the Jayhawks here in Ames. Show tonight, Jay talked about the team DNA for each of these two programs, what they have to do well to win the games. Let's update you with the numbers from tonight.
Well, Kansas's defense has been very good and good enough to win a game on the road, but they are not getting to the free throw line. That's been typical of their season. This is not a high volume free throw shooting team, and TJ Otzelberger's Iowa State Cyclones, they're elite at both ends. They've been elite at the defensive end. 21 points off turnovers, 16 of turnovers for the Jayhawks, 10 of them off Iowa State steals, and they're winning the turnover battle. +3 on the season. They're basically +6, +5.8. I round up, Dan.
Yes, I know.
I'm generous.
Chatfield at the line rattles home the free throw. You know, watching him play both on tape for a few games coming in and now live, seeing how physical he is and the style of basketball he plays. Remember Jack Salt at Virginia a few years ago? Does he remind you a little bit of Jack Salt and how he creates opportunities for his teammates?
A little bit, yeah. I think he's a little bit better offensively. Excellent offensive rebounder that really competes on every play.
And has become a big fan favorite here. Adams. Where will the offense come from? Mayo's got 15. Dickinson's had trouble getting going. Mayo got his man in the air. No call, missed the shot. Iowa State basketball. Lipsy a little bit slow getting up.
But he took a shot from Mayo as he was trying to get away from him.
Seems fine. Flies into the key. Finds Jackson. And Dickinson has picked up his 4th foul.
And Dickinson trying to say, hey, wait a minute, you were way behind the play there. I knocked that away clean.
KJ Adams, meanwhile, heading back to the locker room, or at least now looks like in the direction of the Kansas locker room. Suffered what appeared to be a shoulder injury in the first half, came back into the game, but now has left again. And it's out to a 12-point lead now for Iowa State. This is their largest lead of the night. Harris will draw the foul. Foul on Gilbert, his second.
Yeah, Harris just taking it right into his own hands rather than run their 4 game when they go side to side. Now here's Adams. This might have been where he sort of re-aggravated that shoulder.
Just on a pass, it looked like.
What a valiant effort to come back in. It's so difficult, Dan, to run offense against Iowa State. And just without making a pass, DeJuan Harris just went right down the slot trying to make something happen.
One of 2 for Harris. Kansas, not only are they not getting there much, they're not hitting them. They're 3 for 8. And DeJuan Harris Jr., who's an 86% free throw shooter coming into the game, Jay, is 1 for 6 from the line tonight. Storr into Mayo, who lays it in with a left hand.
But just not a good decision by Iowa State to dribble that ball into traffic, turn it over, and you give up a transition layup on the other end as a result of it. These turnovers are really hurting Iowa State.
And you saw Adams back on the bench for Kansas. Boy, how did that not go down for Dishon Jackson?
Well, this is a big possession for Kansas. You knock down a shot here, you put a little more game pressure on Iowa State going down the stretch.
Griffin and Storr have returned for the Jayhawks. Griffin with a bucket. And maybe these 2 transfers can help spark the Jayhawks. They've got it back to 7 with 6 minutes to go. Lipsy on the drive. Blocked by Dickinson, out of bounds. Iowa State ball.
Kansas has blocked a lot of shots in this game. That's 10 blocks already. 4 of them by Fleury Badunga, a few by Hunter Dickinson. They've done a good job of making everything difficult around the rim and in the lane.
Badunga in for Dickinson. 3 subs coming in for TJ Otzelberger in Iowa State. Heisey's back, Jefferson's back, Chatfield's back.
Anytime that Jefferson takes the ball in, you have to watch that he's going to immediately jump into the post and try to lock somebody down.
17 points in each of their last 2 games, both wins. Baseline floater won't go, and back comes Harris. Kansas can get even closer. Badunga lays it in and is fouled by Chatfield as well.
Iowa State can't buy a bucket. Slow getting back in transition after the miss, and Badunga, terrific job running the floor, just outran Chatfield and then showed a lot of poise to shot fake and then pivot, and he got right back around to that left hand. in order to get that to go and to get the foul. That was a huge play and a huge turnaround as we head down the stretch.
4 on Chatfield. He's gone back to the bench. Demarion Watson is back into the game for Iowa State. Bedunga the miss. Store the rebound.
Maybe got away with a push, but successful.
5.5 to go. 7-0 run Kansas. Mayo well off on the 3. Harris runs it down and a fresh 20 for the Jayhawks. Griffin a good look. Can't hit it. Bedunga can't follow, and Iowa State's got it.
Boy, it's been a while since Iowa State had the shot they wanted in a possession.
Jones, no. Watson fouled.
His activity level has been high when he's been in the game. Demarion Watson is an excellent defender. He can guard multiple positions, but his athleticism and his length can be of great benefit when he plays this hard for Iowa State.
This is only his 6th appearance of the season, again in the rotation tonight because of the injury to Momcilovic. It is a women's basketball doubleheader for you on Sunday. The first game, Stanford taking on number 16 Duke at 1 Eastern here on ESPN2, and then Tahina Pow and number 2 South Carolina hosting Oklahoma at 3 on ESPN. 1 of 2 for Watson. 6-point lead. Store cannot hit the 3, and Watson skies for the rebound.
That's just not a good shot for Kansas. That can't be what Bill Self wanted. Not that it's not a shot A.J. Store can't hit, but they really didn't make Iowa State guard.
Jefferson crossover up, no good, but a foul on Bedunga.
Boy, a nice little Euro step there by Jefferson, and he decelerated there instead of just blasting off. Just slowed down, and that allowed him to get around Bedunga to the left. It's that deceleration that made that play and got him the foul.
Number 4 on Bedunga, and Dickinson is back at the scorer's table. So Bedunga out. Dickinson, who's got 4, he's back in. And Mayo is going to sit probably just until the under 4 media timeout. Give him a bit of a breather. They need his offense of the game as much as they can. Diggy Coit back in for Kansas.
Yeah, you nailed it. He's being taken out just for the under 4 timeout. He'll be back in right after the timeout.
And a couple of misses by Jefferson. Jackson working hard, comes up with it.
Boy, that is crushing for Kansas.
Even more so now. Lipsy buries a 3.
That's how you lose games on the road. Don't take care of a missed free throw, wind up giving up a 3.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Phillips 66, proud sponsor of Big 12 basketball, and the Lexus TX. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer. All right, looking forward to that. A great scene here tonight in Ames, and Iowa State has led wire to wire, really. Curtis Jones has not scored a single point in the second half, but they've still got a 9-point lead. Kansas led very briefly by 2 points 8 minutes into the game. Iowa State up by 9. Kansas ball, 4 minutes to go.
That last play for Iowa State, that 3 by Taman Lipsy, was just crushing for Kansas. Missed free throw, they don't get it, and they wind up giving up a 3.
Store. And a block is the call. Kansas wants the bucket as well, but I don't think they're getting that. I think it's going to be called on the floor.
Well, Gilbert was not in legal guarding position, but this was a drop shoulder. That's often going to be an offensive foul because of that lowered shoulder.
And they do not give the bucket, so it is 1-1 here for Storr, who has played sparingly tonight, who has had a tough time just kind of looking like the guy that he was at Wisconsin last year, now that he's a Jayhawk. But when he gets going, he is a very good offensive player, and they need their offensive players on the floor right now.
Well, he was an outstanding scorer at Wisconsin. Started his career out at St. John's, but just hasn't quite made the adjustment to where he's completely comfortable.
Wow, Jones hit the floor hard. Appears to be all right. And the call is a held ball, which will give it to Iowa State. On the possession arrow.
Home crowds have long memories. They're recalling that timeout that was granted to Kansas in the first half and saying, how come not to us? Probably a few other
words, yeah. Gilbert finds Jackson, bothered by Storr, and now a foul.
Boy, Storr did everything you want to do. He was right there to stop the roll to the basket, and then he's got Dishon Jackson in the corner, and he reached to pick up the foul. I mean, that was excellent defense. Then he loses the ball. You just don't want to foul here. You know, keep him pinned in the corner.
Jackson, a good free throw shooter as well, 6 for 7 tonight. As he hits the front end, 75% on the season coming in.
And even if he misses this and Kansas gets the rebound, you have to be concerned with where Tamin Lipsey is. You bring it down, he'll take it from you.
1 of 2, rebound Griffin. Storr into the chest of Jackson. That's not going to work. Finds Harris, who floats it up and in.
Boy, really good cut by DeJuan Harris. It looked like Storr was just going to take it one-on-one.
Diggy Coit getting some minutes late here for Kansas. Zeke Mayo continues to be on the bench. Jackson gets inside but missed it. Runs it down and got bumped by Storr, who will get called for the foul. And now Jackson is down.
Boy, Jackson's just been quicker to the ball. You know, Kansas getting beat to the ball in areas where, you know, they call them 50-50 balls. But Iowa State seems like they're getting more of them.
Yeah, they've been about 80-20 here tonight. Dishon Jackson has played a very energetic 20 minutes tonight.
Strong on the glass, active defensively. Really benefited from some of the passes in the first half by Joshua Jefferson.
Mayo has returned for Kansas. And a pair for Jackson to make it a 9-point game. He'll sit. Chatfield returns. And they rise to their feet again here at Hilton Coliseum.
Lipsey guarding Mayo. That's really a key. Keep him off the three-point line.
Mayo, tough pass to Harris. Cross court to Storr. Drives, banks it, no good. Chatfield has it for the Cyclones.
Well, another great example of help side defense. Forcing the baseline drive, keeping it on the left side. And the help side right there at the rim.
Just so sound in their principles, right? And a timeout called by Lipsey. 2:19 to go as he got trapped. Consecutive weeks in the top 10 of the AP poll. This takes you back into last season. Nobody has been ranked in the top 10 for more consecutive weeks right now than Iowa State. But TJ Otzelberger says, block out the noise, block out the distraction. Don't let people be patting you on the back all the time. Go to work. Keep playing as a team, playing hard, doing what you're supposed to do, and the results will come. Jefferson from Lipsey.
Fantastic seal of the defender by Jefferson.
Shaquille Moore back into the game for Kansas. Another turnover. It is slipping away from the Jayhawks. Chatfield with the hammer. The largest lead of the game belongs to Iowa State right now.
Another great stand defensively by Iowa State, forcing the turnover and running off of it. Chatfield did a great job walling up and then running the floor, getting rewarded by a great pass to the rim. Every time Kansas has challenged and threatened to make it a ball game, Iowa State, even though the Cyclones have not had the prettiest of second halves, they have really fought defensively, as has Kansas. Kansas is an excellent defensive team.
And a real team effort. Curtis Jones, 20 in the first half, hasn't scored in the second, but he got the assist on that dunk. Joshua Jefferson's a point away from a double-double. Dishon Gilbert has 7 assists. Lipsy's in double figures with 10 points in his normal outstanding defense. Dishon Jackson, 17 points, 9 of 11 from the line. Everybody has contributed.
And I would add into that, I think both Nate Heisey and DeMarion Watson have done excellent jobs in their minutes. Heisey's had some terrific help side defense steals, and Watson has been athletic on the glass. Very good defensively. Everybody on this Iowa State team, they do their job, and they help a teammate do his job.
Action from the Australian Open coming up after our game tonight here on ESPN2, including Taylor Fritz taking the court against Christian Garin of Chile. And a great defensive wall up there by Joshua Jefferson. And Iowa State has the ball, and now a foul by Mayo.
Well, that was a big-time vertical contest by Joshua Jefferson.
Iowa State on the verge of defeating Kansas for the 3rd time in a row in this building. Again, these two programs will meet again February the 3rd in Lawrence. You can see it on ESPN. The status of KJ Adams. We will maybe find out more after the game when Bill Self speaks, but a shoulder injury knocked him out of the game. He came back in, left again. And Iowa State pulling away here in the closing minutes. Extra pass finds Storr. Misses the 3, and Jefferson another rebound, his 12th.
Now there's nothing but Iowa State running out the clock.
They are going to go to 15-1 on the season, and again, their only loss in Maui in November by 2 to Auburn. That's how good this team is.
This is one tough group.
Jones. Wow!
That is an exclamation point right there.
And even guys who are his teammates and see him do it every day can hardly believe what they just saw. The reigning Big 12 player of the week has 25 here tonight. Storr will lay it up and in. Kansas will drop to 12-4 on the season, and their next game will be against Kansas State on Saturday back in Lawrence. Better than 14,000 here at Hilton tonight, and they have enjoyed it from start to finish.
It's a fun team to watch.
Gilbert finds Jefferson, who's fouled.
Talk about logo range. Was that from the T or the E of state?
I mean, that's got to be 30 feet, right? 32 feet, maybe?
That was in a different county.
Iowa State will get back at it on Saturday at West Virginia. Again, the Mountaineers have had a good season, some big wins. That game on ESPN+. Final seconds. And that will not count. The final is 74-57. Iowa State beats Kansas again, and for TJ Otzelberger, his 12th win against a top 10 opponent, that will tie Johnny Orr for the program record here in Ames. They led by 10 at the break and finished with a 17-point win. The number 2 team in the nation is now 15-1 overall. Australian Open coming up next. Good night from Ames, Iowa.